one another, die for each other. We're cool.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Emmeby, welcome back to Grow Higher, Grow Better. I'm so happy, so glad to have you all today, guys. Episode number 10 or episode number 3, season number 2. I don't know, call it whatever you want. And we are so close to 1 year, guys. I cannot even imagine that. Every single time I repeat it, I started May 2025 and it felt like yesterday, but we are so close to 1 year and we're gonna celebrate it. I promise I'm gonna celebrate 1 year of how grow better with you guys. So stay tuned because we're gonna do something that is so fire and you're gonna even believe that. So what are we gonna talk about today? This is so important. It's a really deep topic because there's comes a moment in life when something shifts. Not loudly, not dramatically, just enough to make pretending possible. And it's the moment where tolerance starts to feel like betrayal, where silence becomes heavier than truth, and where staying costs more than living. Because most people don't talk about that moment. They talk about strength, about patience, about endurance, but they don't talk about the quiet damage that comes from living a life that asks for constant compromise of the self. And settling really looks like giving up. It looks like adjusting, like understanding, like explaining things away, and like telling the heart to wait a little longer. But at first, it feels reasonable. Yeah, this is the topic, guys. Never settle, because you know your worth. Not other people know them. Not other people know them. Sorry. It's so important that you have never to settle before. Never, guys. Your worth is yours and you know it better than everyone. Even better than your mom, even better than your dad, even better than your boyfriend and your girlfriend. Whoever is around you, they don't know their worth. They don't know your worth. You are the only one that know it. Before I get started or before continuing, let me recently subscribe and notification for every single time I post new videos. Don't forget also to check out my social media platforms so you won't miss anything I post there. You can find this episode, guys, also on my YouTube channel, Grow Higher, Grow Better, that I made specifically for the podcast. And I really appreciate it. All of you guys that are listening to me. Thank you so much. Okay. So we started. It feels reasonable at first because over time, something good does. Not happiness, but identity. And a voice becomes softer, instinct get questioned, needs start to feel excessive, and slowly start turning into apologize. Yeah, guys, this is how people lose themselves without even making a single wrong decision. You know why? Because settling is not one choice. It's a series of small agreements that made against inner truth. And this is so important to understand it, guys, and to really get it. Agreements to stay quiet, to accept inconsistency, to normalize confusion, to call survival love. How many times we've talked about toxic love, survival love? It cannot even be called love if it's survival, if it's toxic. And the body remembers every one of them. The mind tries to forget them, but the body remembers them. That relentlessness, that constant alertness, that exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, none of them is random. Peace does not require negotiations, and the love does not demand self-erasures. Alignment, okay, does not feel like anxiety. Worth has never been something created by others because it's not something created by approval or nor destroyed by neglect. It just exists independently of recognition. And when it's not honored, the damage is internal long before it is visible. Fear plays a major role here. Okay, when it comes to the worth, fear of emptiness, fear of loss, fear of beginning again, fear of discovering that what has been accepted for years or was never enough. The fear that you have, guys, convinced people that familiarity is safety, that the discomfort means danger, that the longing is unrealistic. But sometimes familiarity is not peace, and comfort is not fulfillment. We have to remember that there is an important difference between stability, okay, and stagnation, between patience and self-denial, between love and attachment. This is so important because attachment, sometimes, we can take this example as this, sometimes attachment keeps people in places that shrink them. Love, what they do, it expands. Settling often disguises itself as loyalty for people, to history, to version of the self that learned to survive by adapting. But loyalty that requires self-abandonment is not actually loyalty, it's not devotion, okay? Put that fucking thing on your mind. The loyalty that requires self-abandonment is not devotion, it's erosion. Wanting more has been framed as entitlement too far along, as if the desire were a flaw or if its standards were arrogance. But in the reality, at the end of the day, wanting more is clarity. Clarity of what? Clarity that is inconsistency is actually not depth. That potential is not presence. That effort should not feel rare. Those who benefit from lowered expectations, okay? Those who benefit from lowered expectations will always resist growth. They will always call boundaries cold. They will always call self-respect selfish. They will always can change unnecessary. Growth sometimes feels like inconvenient, and to those who rely on access without responsibility. Okay, this is so important, guys. Okay, and as I'm talking to you guys, I really feel it. Okay, sometimes growth feels like something that it's inconvenient for the people that are around you and the environment that are around you that cannot have the access to their own responsibilities, because we all try to run away from them, okay? Because we are scared of them, we're scared to grow, we're scared to change. Remember, sometimes people are scared to change because they have to face their responsibilities. Outgrowing people is not betrayal. It's alignment. Not every connection is meant to last forever. Some exist to teach, some exist to mirror, some people exist only until truth becomes impossible to ignore, okay? Holding on past a point does not pursue love. It distorts it. And yes, we can say that choosing differently comes with consequences. There is the silence, the peace, the space. There are moments where absence feels louder than presence ever did. But within that space, something always returns. Something like clarity, something like breath, a sense of an internal quiet that had been missing for years. And if you guys understand me, I know that you already experienced that and you really feel like you have experienced that peace, even if it's not maybe in the best ever, but it comes in your heart like a peace. There is a relief that is no longer explaining needs, relief that is no longer shrinking language, relief in no longer negotiating tiny. What lives when settling ends was never meant to stay. What remains is what was buried under endurance. It is not about superiority, it's about integrity. A life aligned with the truth will always feel lighter than a life maintained by fear. Worth does not need to be proven through a sacrifice. It does not increase with suffering. It does not disappear when I recognized. It is simply exist. It is simply is. It is simply like that. It simply does. And once that is understood, not intellectually, but internally, tolerance for less dissolves naturally. Put that on your fucking mind, guys. Not with anger, not with drama, but with certainty. The certainty that life is too precious to be lived till half away. That certainty, that connection, we can say also, that should not feel like survival. That peace, okay, that you finally feel it. That inner peace that you finally feel it should not require science. Never settling is not an act of rebellion. It's an act of remembers. A return to the self before compromise became a habit. Before shrinking, it felt normal. Before endurance was mistaken for strength. Knowing your worth is quiet. Start it to know your worth by being quiet, steady, unapologetic. You don't have to beg. You don't have to chase. And most of all, guys, you don't have to explain yourself. And once it is fully claimed, less no longer feels tempting. It feels impossible. And that's where you start to put your worth first of all. And that where everything changes. And that when you start to know your worth and never ever settling for less. That's it, guys. Today was short but intense. I pretended to do this kind of episode that was short because I made them few times, okay? But sometimes we really need something that is short and too intense to stuck in our mind, okay, guys? And feel like we've just listened to the maybe shortest things ever in our life. Maybe we didn't even understand all the words that were told or something like that. But actually something in our heart has been great, okay? So today I decided for like this, guys. I decided to take just 10 minutes of your life. And I really appreciate it, guys. Even if you would rather maybe listen to me more. But I decided for this episode, guys. I decided for this topic that is never settled to make it a little bit shorter. Because it should hit. Instead, because I wasn't talking to you guys. I was just talking like a person that needs her words to hit deeply in their heart. Okay? And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode also. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your patience for every single time that you're listening to me, guys. Thank you so much for letting me growing my podcast, Grow Higher, Grow Better. And thank you all of you guys. See you.